So, before we go into the next module, you guys have no idea how good it feels to be able to give you this type of information. Because literally, when I was coming up, I would literally beg everybody I possibly knew for any information on hip hop, and yet it was literally impossible to receive. This type of information is not something you can get from anybody. Absolutely nobody. Not even a up and coming rapper that has a piece of information would give you this type of information. And like I literally wish, like I used to wish, like when I first started rapping, I wish I had somebody that would sit there and tell me, yo, this is how you break this down. This is how you do this, step by step. You don't really get a step by step tutorial on how to do this stuff. So just thank you and thank yourself for even allowing me to tell you this, because I wish that I was you right now. I wish that you were sitting right here and I was on the other side with you telling me this. I wish that could happen. So I'm not a person that follow the lead and just be a stingy person because somebody else was stingy to me. I've always had a different heart, and I've always told myself, if I can help the world, I will help the world as much as I can. And I want you to be great just as much as I want anybody else to be great. I don't live by the king and queen theory. I want everyone to be kings and queens. So let's get into the next module of this overall production. The next module is Mindstate. How to craft the perfect 16 and the mind state to crafting the perfect 16. Before you get the mumble, before you get the BPMs, before any of that, you have to have the mind state of where you're going. And the mind state is trying to figure out, where do you see yourself at? Everybody that has become some form of great, some form of all-time great, has once looked up to a great. We must not forget, Michael Jordan favorite player was Clyde Drexler, who was once the greatest person in the league at his time. Kobe Bryant looked up to Michael Jordan. Kobe was the greatest player of the league in his time. So when you're trying to be the great, you must follow the steps of the greats. And that is the mind state I had when I went into every form of writing a verse. Before the mumble, before the BPM, I was already thinking, yo, I want people to think I'm up there with Jay. I want people to think I'm up there with 50. I want people to think I'm up there with M. I want people to think I'm up there with KRS-One. I want people to think I'm up there with Nas. Those are the mind states I have in my head before I even jot down a single word. Before I even think of a single word, I'm already thinking, where do I want people to place this verse at amongst these people, because those are the greats. That's the first thing you have to understand, mind state, mind state. Now, there's a flip side to that. Everybody is not trying to be labeled as the lyrical genius in today's standards. Today's standards, we have added a different and another addition to hip hop that doesn't require you to be a lyrical genius, such as the more trap style or the more laid back style, or even the newer West Coast style. You know, the newer West Coast style, even the West Coast style in general, has never been completely lyrical based. It has always been, you know, more flow, more swag, more, you know, West Coast. And you know, at one point in time, you had, you know, the more lyrical miracle, and then you had the West Coast gangster music. Now we have another addition to it, and it's the South. The South has made a very big impact on the rap game. We have the trap music. We have the more auto-tune singing music. Now, there's a lot of things. So, you know, the same method applies with mind state. If you're a trap rapper, if you're more on that side of rap, the same if you're a dance song rapper, if you like just want to make a lean with it, a rock with it, or, you know, crank that or whatever. You have to go at it with the mentality of you have to think about something. You have to think about some form of motivation. And that motivation comes from thinking about another individual that will allow you to get that motivation. For example, you know, I've seen a few people that I've worked with, they come in the studio and, you know, they like, yo, like, man, I think I should sound a little like Future on this. or I sound a little like, you know what I mean, or whatever. But the more the story is that mind state, the mind state of what you want it to sound like. It's not jocking somebody's style. It's not copying somebody's style. Because in the world we live in not really a copycat world, but we live in a world where it is okay to borrow somebody's moves. It is okay. You don't have to use it in your own format, but you can take somebody's move and make it better. Allen Iverson did the crossover. Everybody started doing a crossover around the back. A double Allen Iverson crossover. You get what I'm saying? Allen Iverson even told the world that somebody else taught him the crossover. Another dude from his college taught him the crossover. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a bad thing to learn from somebody and then, you know, add your own twist to it. That's the mind state of all the greats had. Jay-Z had the Biggie mind state. Eminem had the Jay-Z the Biggie's mind state. You know, everybody had their own mind state of a mind state of trying to be like the people that they looked up to. So that is one of the first steps. So the second step is like the trap side. You know, I had a friend that went in the studio we were recording, and you know, he wanted to sound like Future, so he had the Future like and that was his mind state from the beginning. His mind state was, I want a song that sounds like this. And if you listen to most people music in general, you can hear somebody else in everybody's music. And it's because we all look up to somebody. So once again, it's just having that mind state, the mind state of who do I want the viewers or the listeners to sit me next to? Because when you put out a track, they are automatically saying what category I'm gonna put him, what style of rappers that I'm gonna put him in, what area am I gonna put him in. Me, this is about how to craft the perfect 16, and for myself, I consider myself a lyrical genius. So I am in the field of trying to be one of the best rappers known to mankind. And my inspiration is looking up to the best rappers known to mankind, such as when I go in the booth, my mind state is full with Jay, my mind state is full with Nas, KRS-One, 50 Cent, Eminem, you know, even some people that are not rappers like Damian Marley. Like, he's one of the few people that I really listen to, because although he's not a crazy rapper and he's not looked at as a super rapper, but the man is extremely lyrical. It's just a lot of people I look up to. So when I go into the booth, these are all the people in my mind state. My mind state is, yo, you have to be the greatest rapper that you can possibly be. And I incorporate all of that when I'm in the booth writing, or when not in the booth, when I'm writing a song. I incorporate all of that. I incorporate all my peers. I incorporate all my greats. Also, big shouts out to Kanye West. But I incorporate all the greats. And by incorporating them, it allows me to do something that I call the Power Ranger effect. I would consider myself the Power Ranger. And this whole thing is one big megazord of a mental mind state. Connect everything. So there you have it.